Welcome back to Straight Facts. On Tuesday, I'm joined by LB and Dan Potts. Excuse my surroundings and the lateness today. I'm down at the new studio in London. Everything is good to go, but my laptop decided to pack up and it wouldn't let me connect any of the cameras to it or anything. So I'm having to stream on an old webcam, but we'll be back up to quality soon. Although the Wi-Fi is good here. But Potsy, LB, how are you two today?
Good, bro. Very good. I'm getting closer to a weekend of football, so I'm happier because internationals ain't for me. That's all I'll say. But I'm good, man.
Yeah, man. Big up to you. Big up to Potsy in the chat. Make sure you're smashing up the likes. Yeah, man, I'm all good, isn't it? Same as Potsy, man. Can't wait for this international break to be over. Premier League back for a month. And now we've got to go through this whole thing again, man. Dead, innit?
It's been painful and it is frustrating and it's annoying and it's boring, especially when you're a Man United fan and you see the news today. I mean, listen, I've been having technical issues here, trying to get set up, trying to get ready to go live. But I'm not even going to lie. When I read the news that Ten Hag hasn't even been close to getting the sack during this international break, I'm not going to lie, I'm fuming. I don't know if I'm being a spoiled brat. I don't know if I'm overreacting, but I'm not going to lie, gents. I am absolutely fuming that, according to the reports, he wasn't even close to losing his job. What is all this about?
That is mad. It's absolutely crazy if this is true. This is absolutely wild. This manager has shown that he is not capable of managing this team in the league. You know, like, credit where credit's due. He's won 2 trophies. That's great. But in the league, it's been absolutely abysmal. You currently sat 14th. You got Brentford coming up at the weekend. I don't think many United fans are too confident of that game. And the fact that the rumours are now coming out that it wasn't even being considered. Now, maybe that's not true. Maybe they're just going to give him a little bit more time and they want to try and back him as much as possible. So it's all just PR. Oh, no, we're not looking at back it to try and give him some confidence, Ten Hag, to try and turn this ship around. The problem is the ship ain't turning around, lads. Yeah, the ship is sinking. Yeah, it's got a massive hole in the side of the ship and it's going down quick. Yeah, and you need to sort it out. And the way you do that is by acting quickly, acting decisively. You know, I have a little bit of an issue with Ineos, man. I really do. I thought when Ineos was coming into United, I said on this stream, yeah, on Straight Facts, on many other shows, I think this is the start of the turnaround plan, yeah, at Manchester United. And as a football fan, obviously from a City point of view, it's great. As a football fan, I've been quite like disappointed to see what Ineos have done. I feel like they've not been ruthless. I feel like they've let this season just drift. I think this season is now a wasted season. I thought your transfer window was poor. You should have got rid of that manager in the summer. And you just delay the inevitable. We all know that Ten Hag's getting sacked at some point. So why not just get it out of the way, yeah? Get rid of the pain and start again now. And it just seems to me they're delaying it. And I really thought that when they come in, I thought they were going to be ruthless and I thought they was going to sort this out. But they're not. They're dragging it on, man. So listen, you've got more pain, yeah? Because I'm telling you now, I do not believe Ten Hag is going to be able to turn this around. This is his 3rd year. You've won how many games? 2 games out of 8. Is it 2 games out of 8 you've won in the league? Or 2 out of 7?
Something like that.
7. It's just horrendous, you know? So, yeah, for me, crazy. I don't think it's true. I think probably they have considered sacking him. My opinion is that they're going to give him another month and maybe they'll give him until the November international break. But after that, it's crazy because the thing is, yeah, after the international break in November, that's it then. I think we go full ham till like maybe March, is it? Maybe someone can let me know in the chat. I think after November, you've got until March, until the next international break. That is a period that you need to be strong, you need to be united, yeah, and you need to have a team that's ready to go on all foot because that's basically where your season's won. You have so many games, European games in there as well. So they need to sort this out quickly. You know, I think he's got 1 more month. And then if he doesn't improve, he'll be gone.
Yeah, I mean, look, in the 3 years that he's been here, it hasn't been 3 years, has it? This is the 3rd season. We've seen no style of play. So you start to think, what is it they're hanging on for? It must be that he's won trophies. He beat Liverpool and Manchester City in that run to win those 2 cups. The teams he beat other than Liverpool and City, and I know you've got to beat who's in front of you, were Burnley, Charlton, Forest, Wigan, Newport, and Coventry. So you'd like to think Manchester United can beat those teams to get to finals of those competitions when you get the draws given to you that you do. He's got to win them, he's got to get across the line, and it's something that my manager's still got to do. So fair play to him. And I think most people have congratulated him for that and praised him for that, albeit I think he should have won all of those games and come close to getting squeaky bum time against Newport and Coventry at times. So, look, there's no style of play. There's no understanding. Sometimes you might look at it and think, well, the reason he ain't got a style of play is because he ain't really been backed. They ain't really his players. He hasn't really spent any money yet. You've got to give him time. All of those things are nonsense because he's had more than enough time. He's had more than enough money and he's had the players that he's wanted. And also not just the players he wanted, the players he's currently worked with before that have been at Ajax, like Onana, like Lisandro Martinez. Obviously, you've got now midfielders and strikers that he's got, and even got Anthony, who's still trying to find a position at Manchester United. So everything that Ten Hag has done has not been a good thing. What I don't get is why Ineos would pull him in for 7 hours, as people were suggesting, just to be told, don't worry, mate, we think you're all good. What's the point of calling him in to do that? Like, it just makes no understanding whatsoever. So for me, Manchester United have got 2 options for me. Well, they've got 3 options. The third, the one they should not do is keep him, right? The other 2 options they've got is they put Ruud van Nistelrooy in charge until somebody they want comes along, or they go and get someone who's available now, whether it be a Thomas Tuchel, whether it be a manager that they want to try and convince that they don't think it's going to come, like a Zidane or maybe Allegri or whoever the hell is available at the moment they want. That's the first option they got. Otherwise, they keep Ruud van Nistelrooy and then they go and look in the summer and go, right, shall we see if we can get Xabi Alonso? Shall we see if we can get Ruben Amorim if we want to go down that route, a younger manager? That's what they've got to do. They're the only 2 options for me. You cannot keep hold of Ten Hag now. There is absolutely no way. You're floating around 14. It's been absolutely abysmal. You spent more money. People were putting you 4th and 3rd and 5th, obviously, in prediction-wise, before a ball was kicked. This has got to change now. There is no way that you can keep him. Now, what will probably happen is Manchester United will get a win against Brentford. Manchester United will beat Leicester in the Carabao Cup. And Manchester United probably won't lose to Jose's Fenerbahce. And they probably won't lose to West Ham at the London Stadium. And then everybody will say, Ten Hag, it actually isn't that bad. And it's never really been him. It's actually just the fact that the players aren't good enough. And the so-and-so. And there'll be more excuses. That's what I think it'll be. I don't know about you in terms of...
bro, I just think that, like, the one issue I have with Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in is just like, this is the point. This is what the one issue I have with Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in, is like, what's the point? What's the
just
point
another Ollie in it? Another Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer
what's
thing.
the point in Ruud van Nistelrooy coming in until the end of the season? This is why I said, when United failed to sack Ten Hag in the summer and give him a new 1-year contract, they wrote this year off. They wrote the year off. This year is now effed. It's screwed. They were never getting top 4 with this manager and this squad, Listen, they might win a cup, whatever, right? But this season, in terms of progressing, it's over. It's done. And it was over the moment that they didn't have the bottle to sack this manager and go and get a new manager, And what I'm hearing now from some United fans, not all the United fans, but some United fans, who can we get? Who can we get? You go on like you're the biggest club in the world, right? If you're the biggest club in the world, why don't you go and get someone else from a different club then? Why do you always tell me now? Yeah, and again, this is only some United fans, not all of them do this. But why have I got United fans saying, well, who's on the market? Who's on the market? You're meant to be the biggest club in the world. Go and get someone. Go and get an Inzaghi. Go and get a Simeone. Go and convince Zidane to come to United. Go and do something. Act like the big club that you tell us you are. Do you know what I mean? I feel like some United fans, and maybe the club as well, they've forgotten who they are. Meant to be one of the biggest clubs in the world. They don't act like a big club no more. The way that they act is like a mid-table club. And when you act like a mid-table club, you get mid-table managers, you get mid-table players, and you get mid-table results. There's no surprise to me that United finished 8th last year, and now they're sitting in 14th when they buy trash players and they've got a trash manager. United need to own it. Remember that they're a big club, or they used to be a big club, and go into that market and make a statement of intent. Go and get Inzaghi. Go and get Inzaghi from Inter Milan and give him 200 million in the summer. And people will go, nah, his style of play is not this. You don't have a style of play. You don't have a style of play. Yeah, let's not pretend United have a style of play and then getting Inzaghi, you can't get Inzaghi because he plays 3 at the back and United don't play at 3 at the back. United don't have a style of play. Go and get someone big. But listen, they won't. I think they'll end up getting Ruud van Nistelrooy in. They'll get him to the end of the season. This season will be completely wasted. As I said, it was going to be in the summer. and then you'll start the process for next year. And what I mean, while you've not won a Premier League in 10 years, yeah, you've not won a Champions League since what, 08, and time is just drifting by. And the longer that you take to make this decision, the longer it'll take for you to come back and win a Premier League.
And do you know what,
quickly,
LB?
man?
Do you know what's mad? This new structure's come in, right? This new regime has come in, and a lot of Man United fans are wetting the knickers. Oh my God, we're saved. You know, Jim will fix it and all this stuff, and this is going to go to the next level now. This is the Man United of old. We're going to get back to Sir Alex Ferguson days. And I thought to myself, yeah, they're footballing men. They must know what they're doing. And their first few decisions have been shambolic. First of all, Eric Ten Hag, we've got to keep him because he's won us a trophy. Absolutely. Let's back him with the players he wants, knowing that nobody really wants him here and he might be, under, against the ropes in the first few months. But let's give him more of his players. So if we do sack him, we've got another manager coming in with 10 Hag players they don't want. That's a stupid decision. Then leaving him for this long is more of a madness. I mean, how he's not been sacked already is beyond me. But certainly this season, 14th, I didn't have Man United going for third or titles, but I certainly thought they could have done maybe what a Chelsea and a Liverpool have done this season and start to look fairly respectable in their first sort of new regime of something.
Yep.
And some of the players they brought in, I mean, they've got Xerxes and Højlund up front. They've spent over £100 million on. For 120, you probably could have got Watkins and Tony together with what they were being priced for. So the recruitment hasn't really looked too good, in my opinion, anyway. De Ligt don't look a great player. Mazraoui's probably one of their better signings, which is a madness, really, because no one was looking at him. So things have gone really wrong. But you're right. I'm seeing a lot of Manchester United fans that are going, well, what do you expect? Maybe we have to go and get Thomas Frank or Eddie Howe or Unai Emery. No, man, they need to be doing what you've just said. They need to be going for the elite. This is one of the biggest clubs in the world. Yeah. I can understand if you're West Ham or maybe you're Newcastle and you're thinking of your next appointment. Maybe Emery might be quite good to take us to that next level. This is Manchester United. Emery already tried to take Arsenal to their level and couldn't do it because the job was too big for him. Same with PSG. Like, they need to go look at the very, very elite level manager to do this. And I said this to Saeed earlier, right? I honestly don't think if they got this right, Man United would be that million miles away. Some people say to me it'll be 10 years, it'll be 15 years before Man United. It doesn't have to be. It will be if they carry on like this, but it doesn't have to be that way. If you went and got the correct manager with the correct recruitment, spend the amount of money the Glazers have spent in the last 5-10 years, in 4 transfer windows, that's a very different looking Man United side. That's all I'm saying, man.
Look, gents, I hear what both of you are saying, and it's painful to listen to. You know, you got United fans like this guy here, who says things like Ten Hag out has created an agenda, a story, a scenario, an agenda to get the manager sacked, all in their head. Fan-led BS. Club are happy with Eric. Patience is a key component. Hold that, Terry. The problem is, I'm not worried about being right or wrong. The whole hold that thing is an absolute irrelevance to me. What I bet you cannot do is provide me, Potsy, and LB on this show right now with a detailed, like easy to follow explanation as to why I should stick with Ten Hag in terms of put faith in him and how he's going to turn it around. Show me the examples of a manager of his experience who's been at a club this long, with the resources he's had to spend, who is in this current scenario of worst start to a league season in 30 plus years, who has turned it around. This is the problem with this type of opinion. This is it. And then you guys will come in and say he's waffling. That isn't analysis, bruv. That is you saying Terry's right, but I'm not smart enough to debunk him. That is some limp dick attitude, bruv. Small penis mentality, bruv. It really is. That's all this is. It's true. It's all this is. I'm not turning my back on Ineos yet. Now, I think the hardest thing to do right now as a Man United fan is to keep the faith with them. I agree they've made some mistakes. I agree they've got to rectify them. What I find interesting, I was sitting on a stream last night, and there's a few people making claims that the next team outside of City to win the Premier League is going to be Chelsea. They gave their reasons. Fair enough. What I laughed about inside was, if you'd have said that a year ago, after 3 or 4 failed managers, an incomplete squad, nobody would have even taken that consideration seriously. But they start a season well, they start to look more balanced, they start to win games, and suddenly they could be the next team after City to win the Premier League. Man United can still turn this round relatively quickly. The bit that I'm confused about, and it does make me question myself, is what do you mean he wasn't considered for the sack? Why is he being given another 2 or 3 games? What do they envision him doing in the next 2 to 3 weeks? And even people that say you've got to back your manager, stick with Ten Hag, I haven't seen over the course of this international break a serious detailed breakdown that is easy to follow and understand as to why we should stick with him. Do you always get where I'm coming from? There isn't a. I kind of get it with Ineos. Well, look, they've made a mistake. They will rectify it. It's going to take years. They've done these things that are good. They've got all these other plans that are going on. I can get behind the idea that they're not completely incompetent. What I cannot fathom, and nobody can give me an explanation, is how and why they think Ten Hag is going to turn it around. Cite me the examples, the plethora of examples of where this situation has been turned around in the past. And do not dare mention Sir Alex Ferguson in the 80s as an example. It was a completely different set of circumstances. Don't you dare mention Mikel Arteta. A completely different set of circumstances. It's got to be like for like comparisons here. They can't do it. And I am angry that he's staying. Genuinely to my core, fuming that he's staying. The fact that Sir Alex Ferguson has been sacked before him, I'm at a loss. By the way, I agree with sacking Fergie. I agree with taking the money away from him. It's £4 or £5 million a year that should be spent elsewhere. No disrespect to Fergie. What's he worth? 80, 90 million pounds. He doesn't need it. What does he really do? Like, I get that. But yeah, I'm at a loss with it. There is no logic in my mind that makes sense as to why we've kept him. I can't defend it.
Terry, this is why it's a bit confusing at your football club right now, right? Because you look at some of the stuff that Ineos have done off the field, right? You give them credit. They brought in a structure. They brought in all these people at the top, which the TV companies love to show more. There's about 8 of them all the time at each game. You know, the structure's there. They made a huge decision to sack Fergie, which I agree was the right decision. Yeah, and I think some United fans are not happy with it, but I think it's the right decision. You spot on, that money should be spent on the club, not on a club ambassador, right? But then this one decision, the biggest decision of them all, that they're delaying and delaying and delaying, and I don't understand why. Are they waiting for it to get so bad? Are they waiting for you to drop down to the relegation zone? Because let's be honest, you're not a million miles away from the relegation zone. You lose your next 2 Premier League games, you're in a relegation scrap. Like, is that what they're waiting for? Are they literally waiting for it to be that bad that they have the backing of every single fan? Top 4 is now pretty much a write-off. If you do the maths, yeah? If you do the maths, it's pretty much a write-off. Yeah, you need over 2 points a game now to get Champions League based off the historical points requirements. And this guy's averaged 1.72 points per game in the Premier League. So if you keep this guy, yeah, you're not going to get top 4. That's already pretty much gone based off the stats. It's just a disaster, man. And like I say, I don't understand, yeah, why the club didn't get rid of him in the summer. They could have worded it nicely. They could have said, thank you for the 2 trophies. Brilliant work. But it's not quite working in the Premier League. We want to move it on. I think Ten Hag comes out of it looking all right because he's won 2 trophies. He can have a little bit of a fight back and say, he can blame the ownership, he can blame whatever and say, no matter what, I still won 2 trophies, blah, blah, blah. I think he could have walked away with his head held high. All this is going to do, yeah, everyone loses here. Ten Hag loses because he just looks horrendous. Yeah, Ineos lose because they look horrendous. The board lose because they're not making decisions. And the fans lose because you're sitting in 14th. There's no winners here, apart from the Ten Hag winners, which I don't understand.
Well, there are winners. We're the winners, man. We're the ones that are lost. We're the winners. Do you know what I mean?
But no, you guys are, and I will say this. I understand the general notion behind standing behind your manager. I get it. But the Man United fans are like, you guys are wafflers, back your manager, give him time. Again, that's not an argument. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful. Give me an argument. Give me a breakdown. Give me an understanding. Convince me. I'll give you an example. Would you change your mind, boys? This is hypothetical about why it took so long. If we sacked Ten Hag in 3 weeks and then we announced Zidane as the new manager, but it turned out that it's taken us 3 months to convince him to become the manager. Would it then make sense as to why they delayed it if a scenario like that took place?
That would make sense. That would make sense.
Okay. So hypothetically, it would. That's the point I'm making here to the Ten Hag inners.
I don't know if it would. I don't know if it would, though, Terry. I'll tell you why. Because if it's taken 6 months to get Zidane there, then why did you back Ten Hag with more money in the future? Just give the job to Ruud until Zidane's ready.
Potentially, but the point I'm making is you can see logic in there that, well, okay, look, we were working really hard to convince a top manager to come in, and that's why we delayed things. You'd go, that makes sense, right? I can see logic in it. LB the other week. Maybe they're waiting until all of his support is eradicated. Logic. What the Ten Hag inners are not giving me, other than emotion and vibes, is why they're backing him. Why they think it's going to turn around. They cannot, in any way, shape, or form, articulate a response. And that, for me, is problematic. You cannot articulate a response other than you're a waffler, you're a fake Man United fan. Hold that because he's staying. Hold what? You're celebrating the fact that we're going to continue going backwards. That's weird to me personally. Maybe I'm wrong, but that seems weird to me personally. Like, it's crazy. Super chat here says, everything you guys have said, we done that before. Made statements with managers and players. You'll ridicule us for it. We need to do something under the radar because every time we go big, it fails.
No, but what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you go big and you get the elite manager, there's a new structure now. It's not just Glazers throw a load of money and we don't care where it's spent. The money that is being provided by them is now being spent wisely by footballing men under an elite manager. That is why it will be different than last time. Because when you had Jose and all of these elite managers that you want to call like Van Gaal and stuff like that, they were not in the same there was not a similar regime. Jose Mourinho left there saying it's a toxic place. And it won't be anymore if you get these people that you believe are going to be the right regime. So get the elite manager in. You're not going to do it with Ten Hag, man. Go and get us, like LB says, one of those names. That's what
Can I also say as well, Can I also say that for me, when I hear United fans say, yeah, but we've tried this before, sacking managers. The problem is every manager you've hired has been the wrong one, right? So let's start off. You let Fergie go, right? What should you have done when Fergie left? You should have got Pep or you should have got Mourinho. Yeah, what did you do? You got David Moyes. So that was an L. Yeah, after that, you got Louis van Gaal. Completely different style of play. Yeah, completely different style of play. Then you sacked him and got Mourinho. Guess what? Different style of play again. Yeah, after that, you got Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He should never have been in the job. Yeah, you give Ragnick the job for a little bit, and now you got Ten Hag. Yeah, half of these managers were never good enough to be at United in the first place.
Agreed.
Ole should never have been in a job there. David Moyes should never have been in a job there. Ralph Ragnick should have never had a season, 29 games or whatever. Yeah. The only managers, in my opinion, on that list, that were legit were Louis van Gaal. Even then, I still don't think he was quite good enough, but he had the CV, and Jose Mourinho. Ten Hag was the gamble. Ten Hag was you got him from Ajax, boys. You got him from Ajax. It was a gamble. It was a complete gamble. And guess what? It's not really worked out. It's not been a complete disaster because you've won 2 trophies, but it's not worked out. You've only actually had really 2 managers since Fergie left that are worthy of being at Manchester United, Van Gaal and Jose. So when everyone says, we've tried this different man, you've tried it, but you've tried it with managers that should never have been in the job in the first place. What about if you try it with managers that should be in the job?
No.
Yeah.
This super chat that's just coming in is embarrassing, man. I don't know if you've just seen that super chat. This is what I don't get, man. It makes no sense. There's fans like this still. I don't get it. It makes that just is mad to me.
That is a mad super chat, bro. Listen, the conclusion is Ineos still have faith in him. My question to you then, Johnny, why do Ineos still have faith in him? You're 14th. Yeah, it's the worst start in Manchester United Premier League history, and you finished 8th last year. 8th. Would Real Madrid accept finishing 8th? Would Bayern Munich accept finishing 8th? Because
they're 14th now.
Bro, this is the problem that I have with United fans. I'm sorry, Terry, but I've got to call this out, mate, United fans love to sit here and tell us that they're the biggest club in the world. And then when they finish 8th, they want to be like, no, we'll give him time. Real Madrid would not give a manager 3 years when they finished 8th. And in the second season, the 14th after 7 games. Nor would Bayern Munich. These are the biggest clubs in the world, And you guys, you're just like, no, it's fine. Well, then you can't
Hilarious.
compare yourself to Real Madrid or Bayern because there's not a chance in hell that would ever happen at their clubs.
Do you know what annoys me is the reason why I want an explanation is because whether you're on the panel or you're in the comments section, we're having a conversation. And when people say I'm backing him, great. I'm never opposed in life to the what that people say per se. I want to know the why. Because everybody can tell you the what, you know. I want the manager go. What I want, what I like, what I want to do. I want to have a conversation about the why. I want the rationale. I want you to make it make sense. And what you said that Ineos have got faith in him, fine. But I want to know why you believe that's right. Why you believe that is the correct thing for them to do. I am at a loss. So you say, well, I'm not going to give you the rationale. Why would you not? We're not here doing a test for school and I'm up trying to cheat answers. We're trying to have a conversation. If you, Johnny Sins, know why he's staying and it makes logical sense and there's a big pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, why would you not tell me? Because the thing is, you know there isn't. It's blind, ridiculous faith.
But why? So do you know? Because you're a United fan, so you don't know. Why is it some United fans then are saying, like, give him time? Like,
so again, personally, I think the people that do that, typically speaking, it's like a knee-jerk reaction, defense mechanism for, well, if I say the manager, some people view saying sack your manager as you're disrespecting the club. Some people find criticizing their own players to be, yeah, but they're my players. I'm meant to have their back. Yeah, these are the same. So I just look at, some people view the world that way. Some people view the world through the lens of, if I say Ten Hag ain't good enough, then I'm attacking my own football club. Where I think there's a way and how you do it. But as a general rule, if you know someone isn't good for your football club and they're taking you backwards, call it out. That is, I believe in tough love. So I believe that's being supportive. And I remember having this row with Gooners during the Wenger in, Wenger out times. I remember being on AFTV when we used to do Fan Park Live, and the Gooners that would phone in and say, Terry, why are you backing people that are disrespecting our manager? I said, I don't think people are disrespecting Wenger to say that it's time for him to leave. They don't believe Arsenal are going to progress with him anymore, and they're Arsenal fans first. I can see it. It's the same here. You also get some United fans that I do agree that we've gone through too many managers. But the answer to that isn't not sacking managers that are failing. It's finding the managers that are progressing us that you can back. It's so strange. It beggars belief, the level of basic analysis that goes into this from fans. It's crazy to me personally. Terry looks like he is attending Man United's funeral. As a Milan fan, I'm with you in spirit. Should England look at Tuchel with the World Cup if Pep resigns? Well, that brings us nicely into the next segment of our show. There's talk about Pep getting a new deal at City, but there's also talk about him and Tuchel being in the running to take over as the next England manager. We'll start with Tuchel on this point. Potsy, would you take Tuchel as the England manager?
Yeah, 100% I would. I think he actually has a balance between defensive play and attacking play. I think he proved that at Chelsea. He's got a CV that says that he's successful. I think he's done good things wherever he's gone. I know people laughed at Bayern Munich and PSG, but maybe, yeah, it got a little bit too heated for him towards the end. But I still think that he did some good things there. I think at Borussia Dortmund, he was where he was first kind of recognised as being a good coach. And then obviously won the Champions League with Chelsea. So he's a CV that I look at and go, yeah, you know what it's like to get yourself through a tournament, mate. You know how to win a tournament. And I think when you look at what he would bring to England, it is a style of play and someone that can get us across the line and someone that I think would know where to put these players into positions, because Lee Carsley has clearly made it very, very clear that he doesn't want the job. And at the moment, we've had very underwhelming names that have been linked with England or that have got the job. Because when people are begging for people like Graham Potter or Eddie Howe, it doesn't fill me with a massive amount of excitement, if I'm honest with you. Not that I think they're bad coaches and they would probably do a lot better than what some of the previous managers have done. I do think Tuchel has got that kind of winning mentality and that CV that says that I can get you across the line. And at the moment, I just want a manager that, one, I recognise, two, I could actually say has got something about them that I think in terms of upstairs knows what they're doing, but also has got a mouth and that can actually talk and have a voice. I also think that the CV speaks for itself. I just want someone to come in and actually play these players in the right positions, because without turning this into an England podcast, it has been quite painful to see over the last few games. being forced into positions where we've kind of rolled back the years, really, 10, 15 years, where Lampard, Gerrard, Scholes, they're all trying to play in position, put one on the left and put one in the 9 and one in the 10, all this rubbish. We started to see that, and I don't want to see that again. I feel like we're going backwards if we did that. So for me, I think Thomas Tuchel is clearly interested in the job. The other thing he's got is he's got an advantage that he's got experience of managing in England, so he knows the players well, and he has at least seen them play and where they're best suited. So I think we could do a lot worse than Thomas Tuchel. I really do. Look, I'd love Pep. I'd love Klopp. Of course, I'd love those two ahead of anybody. But for who's available right now, I think Thomas Tuchel will be a great shout as the England boss. I really do.
Yeah. I'm not too against it. Listen, I know a lot of people think that the England manager should be English. And you know what? Listen, I ain't going to disagree with them too much because I used to think the same. I used to believe the same. I used to be very much of the opinion that the England manager should be English, the Spanish manager should be Spanish, blah, 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 right? But then I've got to a point now where I'm like, I just want to see us win a fucking trophy, man. I can't, surely, bro, I can't leave this earth without seeing England just lift anything. I'd take a bloody Nations League at this point, you know. But no, listen, Tuchel is a decent manager. I think Tuchel would. I don't think he's too different in his approach to Southgate. He's more on the reserved side, and he's not like a Pep or a Klopp who's more expressive with it. He's more on the reserved side. So I think that transition from Southgate football to Tuchel football should be quite smooth. And he's also won stuff. Now, he's not at the caliber of a Jose. Yeah, I'd love a Jose. I think that'd be amazing. Pep, Klopp. He's not at the caliber. Yeah, he's not an elite level manager, but he's a good manager. He's a very good manager. You don't win the Champions League if you're not a very good manager. So, listen, I think it's better than we had. And I think that's progress. And I think when you get rid of a manager and you get a better manager, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and slag it off because ultimately Tuchel is a better manager than Southgate. Is he an elite level manager? No. Well, let's see what happens. It's a tough job because we've got a lot of players that need to fit into a team, and you're probably not going to be able to fit them all in. So someone's going to be getting dropped, and that's going to rile up the media. It's going to rile up the fans, and he's going to have a lot of shit to deal with. So let's see how he gets on, man. But I'm not against it. And listen, like I say, if you think the England manager should be English, I'm not going to sit here and disagree with you because I used to think that as well. I've just changed my opinion, but a lot of people do think that.
Yeah, I'm not against it. I prefer the idea of Pep. I prefer the idea of Pep when we saw those links, and obviously then the reports came out about him maybe signing a new 1-year extension at City. I prefer Pep to take over. I don't care whether the manager's English or not, and I've never really cared about that. You see, the England women's manager is Dutch, and she's done a great job. You know, I grew up part of Team GB. We had coaches that were from the States and from Canada because Team GB were willing to pay them more money, and they made us better at what we did. So for me, it's about the nation winning. I don't necessarily think we need the team to be full of players that were born in England or have an English heritage. In other sport, you know, you've got people like Mo Farah, weren't born in England, but they represented us very, very well. I don't consider him any less British, me personally. So yeah, I couldn't give a damn. And you know, someone like Tom, I mean, imagine a German taking over and winning us the World Cup. There's something beautiful and poetic about that. I love it. It's you're almost sticking it to the Germans a little bit in that as well, of course. So yeah, I'm not against it whatsoever. The element that I'm worried about is he's also linked to Man United, and I think he's a decent manager, especially for where we are right now. And it would just be crazy if England end up with Tuchel and we stick with this guy. Like I'm being very selfish here because I care more about Man United than I do England, and I do sit there and think to myself, imagine England end up with a better manager than Man United. That pains me. That really, really pains me.
Yeah, but again, you know what happens is fans, and I'm not just calling out United fans there, yeah, because we all do it. But obviously, you're talking about United. But you know what we do as fans? We don't accept. We don't want to get a better manager. Fans. You know what we don't do? Yeah, we don't just accept better managers. So then, in the summer, United fans were telling me Hansi Flick washed, dead manager. He did it at Bayern. He's never done it anywhere else. Don't want him. He's gone to Barcelona. He's doing quite well. The fact is, yeah, he's a better manager than what you have right now, which is why I'm accepting of Tuchel. If you get a better manager, you're going to improve. Keep him for a year or two, sack him, get a better manager. Like, why, as fans, yeah, what we want as fans, we want the greatest, which should be the aim. But unless we can get the greatest, we ain't sacking our manager. We ain't changing. It's like, bro, if there's a manager out there that's better than your manager, get him. What's the problem? Everyone wants this 5-year, 10-year thing, bro. Like that is rare, man. That is so rare.
Yeah, you get a lot of this
Win now, man.
Well, you get a lot of this win now manager versus a project manager, and again, in the early conversations surrounding that, it made sort of sense, depending on where your club is and what they're doing. But it's getting to a point now where it's almost becoming a bit of I want a manager who's here. I want a manager who's here for the long term. I want a manager who's here for the sorry, I pulled out the charger. That'd be the last thing I need is the laptop now running out of battery. Sort of, I need a manager that's here for the long term, not just who's win now. I'm sure there's managers. I mean, Pep Guardiola was never considered a long-term manager. He was considered a win-now manager. He's about to complete a decade at one club if he signs just 1-year extension. You know, I do get people say I want a project manager, and some say I want a manager that's going to win now.
Well, a typical example, Terry, right?
But they've got to be better than what you've currently got. Like they've got to be an improvement, surely.
But a typical example, right? Liverpool and Chelsea and Manchester United in the summer were all looking for a manager. I know Ten Hag was safe, but really the fans wanted a new manager. And when we were on this show, people said, oh, Dan Potts just wants a win now manager. It doesn't get it's a project. It takes time. Look at what Arteta's doing at Arsenal. My argument was, well, we still haven't won anything yet. So we actually do need to get across the line. Although I do think he's done phenomenal to get us challenging, we do actually need to start winning something. And then they said, well, who do you want then to just win now? And I suggested Hansi Flick, right? And everybody laughed and said, you're joking. Oh, God, he's washed. Absolute washed manager. Why don't we want him? We want Xabi Alonso ahead of him. Hansi Flick's going to go and do bits at Barcelona. Hansi Flick would have been a very, very good appointment for Manchester United, Liverpool, or Chelsea. And he's proven as to why. That's the sort of manager that you should have gone for, in my opinion, with the structure that you've got now. Hansi Flick would have been a fantastic appointment for Man United, Chelsea, or Liverpool. Not that Slot and Maresca won't be good. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying at the time, why was that so laughed at? I could not believe it. It was the amount of abuse you were getting. And I was like, it wasn't just on this show. There's other shows I was going, Hansi Flick's available. They're going, oh, washed, absolutely washed.
Well, that's because football fans do this thing, and we're all guilty of it at times, where it's all about what's flavour of the month, what's in vogue. There is a good chance this year that Bayer Leverkusen are nowhere near the last season standards, and they finish fourth. They don't win a trophy. Does that suddenly mean that Alonso isn't as good? No, not necessarily. As an example, you know, there are people out there now that don't. There are certain people that don't think Arteta's a very good manager. He ain't won nothing. So let's say this season he misses out winning the league by a point versus he wins the league by a point. So there's a 2-point swing. Is that 2-point swing the difference between being a very good manager and being a dross manager? No, it can't be. The margins can't be that fine between you're elite, you're brilliant, and you're no good. And that's the problem with a lot of fans is everything is polarized. Everything is over the top. But as soon as the buzz runs out surrounding a player, there are certain players, like 2 years ago, if you'd have said, oh, you have to sign Tchouaméni. Yeah. I've heard people on streams and in spaces in the last few months go, I don't know, really. He's a bit washed, isn't he? Well, you mean the hype's gone away? That's all it is. The hype's gone away. They're still the same player they were. It's just nobody is buzzing about them. And Hansi Flick, I think he's looking excellent at the moment. And there's a lot of good managers out there. It's just about being at the right club and being in the right environment. And it doesn't always, things don't always work out for you. You know, not every, like the Pep Guardiolas of this world are almost, you know, Sir Alexes of this world are almost anomalies where everywhere they went, it just worked out. Most managers, even the guys that you see on the GOAT lists, They've had appointments or they've gone places where it didn't quite work and they've left and they're doing brilliant elsewhere. You know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, people thought Ancelotti was over the hill. Yeah, it's all of, as football fans, we're like moths. We're attracted to the bright lights. Who's the flavour? A year ago, Bellingham was walking on water. Now there are people saying, actually, it's Cole Palmer. By the way, in 2 years' time, people are going to say the same thing about him. Flavor of the months, man. And I'm not saying any of these guys are bad. But fans are just fickle as hell, man.
Yeah. No, he's spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. Let's see what happens, mate. But no, spot on there, pal.
What's your thoughts on Pep? Do you think he'll stay? Do you think he'll do one more year after this?
I think he'll do. Okay, so yeah, my understanding is that he was going to leave at the end of the season. But I think he's going to do one more year. And I think that will then legit be it. Like, I'm not even sitting here saying he'll do one more year and then maybe next year we'll sign. No. I think one more year takes him to 10 years, and then I think he'll be off. And I think that'll be done. I also just don't think it's very clever to let your sporting director and your manager go in the same summer. I think that's very, very unwise, to be honest with you. Some people say, nah, it's a good thing, it's a refresh. People don't understand, like, you know where we need a massive rebuild. Like, we need a massive rebuild, bro. We got no backup striker, yeah. Kovacic is in his 30s. Gundogan is in his mid-30s, so he's literally fucking almost done. Kevin De Bruyne is almost done. He'll be gone at the end of the year. Kyle Walker is done. Yeah, we've still not got a new contract on Edison yet. Yeah, people think it's all rosy at City, mate. Like, I'm telling you now, man, like, this new guy coming in, Viana from Sporting Lisbon, and obviously Tiki is still here till the summer. They've got a big summer ahead. I genuinely think this squad needs 200 to 300 million pounds spent on it in the next 2 years, sorry. Because, like, we've got a lot of players to replace, mate. We got a lot of players to replace. We're losing key players that have been part of this squad for what, 7, 8, 9 years that are coming to an end. It's the end of an era for some of these teams. I think we're about to enter a rebuild, man. I really do.
And do you know what's interesting as well? If you go historically through the Europe and look at the greatest European sides ever, they've all had like a period like you have, where you've won, where for a 9-10 year period, they've been the best team in their nation. They've won most things. Repeating that, oh, for fuck's sake. I don't know what's happened. Repeating that after the stars of that team leave, it's got no reason to be doing this. I don't know why
it's being attacked by the Matrix.
Mate, it's mad. My laptop's breaking. But yeah, it's hard to replace those great players, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, right, so I think De Bruyne's going to probably leave now at the end of the year, which is a bit gutting. So the only players that I can see right now in world football, and I'd be interested to know if the chat agree with me. The only players that I see could replace Kevin De Bruyne is Musiala and Wirtz. And obviously, them two are probably still a downgrade on Kevin De Bruyne, but anyone else is a massive downgrade. So for me, you have to get Wirtz on Musiala. The bad news is Musiala looks like he might be signing a new contract at Bayern, and apparently Wirtz wants to go to Bayern as well. They want them both. Yeah, that's greedy, mate. That is greedy, but we need to be targeting one of them. Listen, it's going to cost over £100 million. It's going to cost us a lot of money, but like, that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? When you lose a player like that, you've got to replace them with adequate quality. You can't try and cheap out, man. People are telling me about Xavi Simons. Nah, bore off, man. Xavi Simons to replace Kevin De Bruyne. What are we talking about here, man? It's got to be Wirtz or it's got to be Musiala. Anyone else is a huge drop-off. Yeah? That's the truth, man. Like, you're losing Kyle Walker, one of the greatest right-backs we've seen in this country. You need to replace him with the quality, mate. And we've still not got a backup DM. So Zubimendi is the one that I would go for, man. But yeah, listen, I genuinely think we need to spend 300 million in the next 2 seasons.
I think you probably will. I think you probably need to. I can't feel too sorry for you in terms of your squad building because of what you've won, but I think you're bang on. If I'm honest with you, LB, I don't see many youngsters at Manchester City either. Like, I know you've just mentioned a few that are in their 30s. There's some that are touching that as well. Obviously, in a couple of years, Rodri will be one of those. Is Bernardo Silva, is he one of those? I guess
he's in his 30s. Yeah.
He's in his 30s. John Stones, he's got to be 29, isn't he?
He's John Stones? 29 or 30, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting towards those
main
players. Yeah, so you're getting towards most of your players now, either in their late 20s and 30s. So you are in a need for a rebuild. But you have got some young players, of course. You've got Foden. Oscar Bob, I think, is going to be a baller when he does come through. Obviously, he's going to be a top talent at the moment. He's injured. And I think that you will sign one of the big ones. I don't know if Florian Wirtz or Musiala, what their future holds. Apparently, Wirtz got a really bad injury last night, there's rumours suggesting. So I don't know how.
I don't know, man.
Apparently, yeah, just something buzzed up on my phone earlier. I didn't go into it, but apparently there might be potential. They're assessing it, but it's potentially a bad one. So we'll see what the truth is there. It might have come out now that he's okay.
Oh, it's got a capsular injury to his right ankle.
What's that?
Yeah, I've Googled it. A capsular injury can occur in the shoulder, knee, finger, and involves the ligaments and tendons or other structures that surround a joint.
There we go.
Ooh.
There was rumours that it could be quite bad, but I don't know how bad it is. I think they're still assessing it. But Manchester City for sure, 100% have got some academy players coming through. I'm sure you've obviously got Foden and Bob and players like that to add to it. But you're right, man. You're right. You know, your goalkeeper's not young anymore. You've got a back line which is all towards its late 20s, other than Rico Lewis and maybe Gvardiol. The others in midfield, let's be real, Rodri has got definitely a good few years at City left, but he's getting towards the end of that kind of late 20s. And the majority of the ones you've spoken about need replacing. So, look, they do need a real build. This is why I think Pep might be able to do a little bit of a Fergie and say, I can squeeze one more year out here. And then he'll go. And then the new guy coming in has got a big rebuild to go for, in my opinion. But, yeah, interesting.
Question for you. There's a report yesterday, and we discussed this on the top 6. £150 million, would you buy Cole Palmer back to replace like KDB playing that kind of 10 attacking midfielder?
I was going to mention Cole Palmer, but
would you personally sanction that yourself if you were in control, LB?
I by the way, just disclaimer, I never wanted to sell this guy in the first place. I said it was a mistake. Yeah, I said it was a mistake at the time. Bro, why ask me that question, man? Yeah, I think your camera's playing up again, Terry. Yeah. Bro, for me, I listen. In the midfield, I'm looking at Wirtz and Musiala. I'm looking at one of them. But I would take Palmer back. Like, I think Palmer's absolutely beast, and we should never have sold him in the first place. I said that at the time. But listen, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd sign him back for 150 mil. He's class though. He's class and he's young. We should never have sold this guy, man. I said at the time it was a mistake.
You never should have, man. And then you got Doku to replace him. Crazy. Absolutely mad.
And we sold Mahrez for 25 mil.
Yeah, it's mad. It's
crazy,
mad.
Isn't it?
I mean, I think he's an absolute baller, Palmer, I must say, but I just don't see that happening. I think Chelsea have got him now. They ain't going to go anywhere. I don't think City will get him back. But Musiala or Wirtz are the two that I think would be fairly realistic for Man City, if I'm honest.
I think Wirtz is the one, Potsy, that like we've got a chance because he is going to leave at the end of the season, isn't it? Surely he's not staying at Leverkusen next year. That guy,
no matter of where he goes, isn't it? As opposed to
exactly. So I think because we know he's leaving, we've actually got a chance of signing this guy because we know he's leaving. Whereas Musiala, I think this guy's going to sign a new deal. I'd be all over the Wirtz one, man. I'd be slamming 120 mils down on this guy and just getting him in. Young,
we've been
and he's KDB's style as well, man. It's KDB's style. He's more of a passer. You know what I mean? And that's what KDB is.
Yeah, we were linked with him as well, man. I think he's an absolute baller, but I really do. But
that's the level. But that's the level you have to replace with, as you say, because if I look back to like Fergie's last great team, 08, 09, that time, we replaced Cristiano Ronaldo with Valencia and Obertan. You know, we had Owen Hargreaves, whose knees packed up. He wasn't like you had the likes of Tom Cleverley coming in to replace him. You think about like Rio and Vidic and Evra still haven't been replaced to this day. I mean, you actually argue Ronaldo's not been replaced, and a lot of that was Glazonomics at the time before the new TV money came in, and we weren't spending big. And that's actually what hurt us is that if the new TV money had come in, so we could spend big like post Fergie. You know, we should have really gone out that summer and bought the next best right winger in the world. We should have gone out and bought the best holding midfield player in the world available to replace the knees of to replace Hargreaves, whose knees let him down. We didn't replace.
Well, you tried to get Fabregas, isn't it? And you tried to get Bale.
Well, but that was all. Yeah, but that was all after Fergie. I'm saying in that sort of, if you go back to like 09 when Ronaldo left and Tevez left,
sorry,
and that's where. So we'd already created this hole and this gulf, and it was patched up by Sir Alex being. We had a very good team still, but we still had like we were calling Paul Scholes out of retirement, and as great as that was to see, what we really should have gone and done then. Forget what happened afterwards. We should have gone and signed Toni Kroos. That's what should have happened at that point. But that was when the Glazers weren't letting us spend money because the new TV deal stuff hadn't come through yet. And City have got to you can find another KDB that's 50 million that you might be able to develop into him, but it's hard because the standards are set. You need someone who can come in, hit the ground running, and almost be at that level. And this is where City spending is then going to increase again. You know, you went through that period where you weren't one of the biggest spenders because a lot of your core you got in at good prices, 50, 60 millions. and then you built upon that, you're probably going to, as you say, in the next couple of years, you're not going to get lucky like you did with Haaland from a cost point of view. Because, if you didn't have a buyout clause, Haaland was costing you 200 million. You're probably going to have to spend a good 400 to 500 million in the next couple of years to replace all these stars.
Yeah, I agree.
That are leaving. It's going to be an interesting time for City. But if you're able to keep Pep, the good thing is for me, I don't know how you see this, Potsy. I say me, we're not in the race really, but if he does just one more year, that must give you hope that Pep is going to leave.
Yeah, of course. Look, Pep's going to leave. That's for sure. But I just don't know when. I never thought he would go at the end of this season. I always thought he would stay. I was one of the minority that thought that, to be fair. There was a lot of Arsenal fans that were like, look, it's just one more year, guys. Then the 115 thing will go out and he'll go. I think we were getting ahead of ourselves, if I'm honest. I always felt he would stay. He looks happy. He doesn't look like he wants to leave to me, winning everything. So I think he will stay. But look, the one thing I will say, and it's really kind of similar to what LB was talking about, really, is this Manchester City side doesn't look like it can stick together for like 5 years like Arsenal's can. So that's the advantage we've got on that. The advantage that Man City have got is they've got a ridiculous manager and they've got a war chest that will allow them to build another side. So they're coming to the end of their kind of era or generation under Pep. And we're kind of, a few years into Mikel Arteta's and looking pretty good. So, of course, I still think we can win the league this season. I still got City winning it, but I still think we can. And I think next season we can as well. I want to win the league while Pep is still here. Let me make that very, very clear. I do not want to win the league and be told, well, we'll know why Arsenal won it, because Pep went. That is what will happen when Arsenal win the league. So that was why I wanted to win it last year, because Arsenal winning whilst Pep and Klopp were still there would have been a fantastic achievement for me and would have had to have been respected. But because we haven't now, it's got to be this season. And look, if Manchester City miss Rodri as much as they did in the last sort of similar part to last season, Arsenal were going to have to. I just don't think that Manchester City are showing any signs that they have potentially massively missed Rodri yet. Now, that might change in the last, in the next couple of months. But they started off without him and they were winning games. If Pep can sort something out with maybe a double pivot of Kovacic and Gundogan or whoever they want to put in there, Stones or even Bernardo, and they get it right, then maybe they won't miss Rodri quite as bad as they did when he was out in that short period of time last season. But if they do miss Rodri, Arsenal must, man. And what we must not do is, if it isn't Man City winning it, it has to be us, man. It can't be someone else winning the league. It has to be Arsenal. So, yeah, that's what I would say. But Pep leaving, it's going to happen. I don't think it will be at the end of this season. I think he'll potentially go one or two more after that. But, yeah, it won't be much more past that, I don't think. After over 10 years, it's very rare that managers stay longer than that now. It's very rare they get to 10 years. Very rare.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
No, it is. I mean, look, as a United fan, I want him gone. I still think City will be highly competitive and win, but he's a game changer. And again, I don't want him doing 15, 20 years because he might win more Premier Leagues than Fergie. So I want him to go. I'm serious. Like for that reason, I'd also like to see Pep do something else, though. Again, this is just me from a footballing standpoint. I'd love to see him. It won't be Aberdeen, but take over an Aberdeen and make them one of the best teams in Europe. I'd love to see him take over an AC Milan and get them back to winning regular league titles and a force in Europe again. I'd kind of like to see him do something along those lines. I don't know if he will, but that's just me personally. But no, I get it from an Arsenal point of view. I'm a bit like, I would think about it from your perspective. I'd want to beat him. I would, if I was an Arsenal fan, I would want to beat Pep City as opposed to whoever replaces him. I think there's, again, and if Pep stays another 2 years and you can win it, it's all about legacy at the end of the day. If Arsenal could win it this season and next season, as an example, if it shits on Klopp's Pep Premier League legacy, and it also is a bit of one-upmanship on Arsene Wenger, who never retained the league title. So you've got to want to beat him. However, beating him is fucking hard, right? And I want to ask, I asked these questions last night on the Top 6 show. I'm going to ask this one to you now, Potsy, to see how desperate you are to win. Right? I want you to answer this question. Would you accept winning the Premier League and Champions League double this season if it meant that Saka and Saliba both join Man United in the summer?
Man United in the summer? Well, okay, that would not happen. Mate, I'm taking the trophies all day long. I'm taking the Premier League and the Champions League. Of course I am.
Who on earth would reject that?
Well, there would be. I bet there would be.
Some
Because
people,
remember
some
that? Do
people.
you not remember that? Do you not remember that clip that went viral of Saka? People saying Saka could leave at the end of the season, but you win the league, and they all said, "No, I'd rather keep Saka." Most of the Arsenal fan base, like, it is madness how sentimental you get to players and managers. You know, it's Arsenal Football Club, not Saka FC or Arteta FC or
You've never
Saliba
even
FC.
won the Champions League either, so like, bro, you can't be rejecting that, bro. Like,
You have to
I know.
accept that. You have to accept it, man. You have
Yeah,
to. It'd be
I
horrible
s-
to watch him in a Man United shirt, but you know what? I see Van Persie and Sanchez wearing Man United shirts. We didn't even win anything. So for me, it would be easy to say, do you know what? Let's do that. Get the one with the big ears that everyone says is funny that we haven't won. And say bye to Saka and Saliba if that's the case. Look, Saka and Saliba might end up leaving in the next couple of years anyway, for all I know. But you got to take the
yeah.
trophies, man. You got to take the
We
trophies.
asked Henry a real tough one last night. We said, would you take? He went down as low as just the Premier League. We started with the quad and went back down to the Prem. He said he'd end his engagement to his future wife for the Prem.
yeah.
he was looking around like this. He was looking for Becky. He was like, where is she? Where is she? I've got another question though I want to throw to you. It came up on the show yesterday. And I don't know if you boys have seen, like, Chelsea and Arsenal fans are really like at it online at the minute. Saka and Palmer, a bit of a war with each other. And I'm afraid it's to LB first. Which of the two is going to win the Premier League first, in your opinion, from now moving forward?
Oh, I think I have to say Saka's more likely to win it.
God, thank God for that. I was going to say, wow, the amount of
I
times you've slated the Chelsea ownership, man, that would have been awful.
yeah, no. I have to say Saka's more likely to win it quicker than Palmer, just because Arsenal look better than Chelsea. What I would say, yeah, is that Chelsea, I feel like they've got owners who've made a lot of mistakes, but they are willing to back it with the cash, aren't they? I mean, they spent 1.5 billion in a couple of years, so they are willing to back it. So I still go back to the point that, like, I just don't understand why Chelsea didn't sanction that Osimhen deal. I really do not get it, because I think if they would have got Osimhen, maybe they could have blown my expectations out the water this season. Maybe they would have been in a title race. I cannot for the life of me understand why they turned that down. And I know Jackson, people are telling me Jackson's doing well this year, whatever, but he's no Osimhen. But yeah, listen, Palmer, I've said it all along. I think Palmer's a better player than Saka. I think he's technically better than Saka. But Arsenal right now, they're not a million miles away from winning the Prem. Yeah. So yeah, I'd say Saka.
Can you envision a world, Potsy, where Chelsea take over Arsenal and win the Premier League again before you do? There are people now that are starting to believe that after Chelsea start, and I'm not just talking Chelsea fans. We had a Madrid fan on the show last night. A lot of people in the comment section agreeing, saying they can see a world where that happens. A team that's built to win versus a team that bottles it typically. Can you see that happening?
No, not at the moment. And if it does happen, then heads need to roll at Arsenal, because that's the shambles. I can't see it happening. I'm not getting on the overhype chain just yet. Wasn't very impressed against Forest and Palace and Bournemouth, where Chelsea had played and struggled. And obviously they ended up beating Bournemouth, but due to a saved penalty, they couldn't beat Forest. They couldn't beat Palace. They're still having problems. They still don't have a goalkeeper, I rate. They still are quite leaky defensively. They still don't have a centre forward. They need to get the balance right in their midfield. There's still a lot for them to do. Arsenal got the better team right now. Arsenal, I think, have got the better players, although Chelsea fans will have you told you that there's only one or two that gets in the whole of their squad, which is, I think, nonsense. I don't see Chelsea overtaking Arsenal. As for Palmer, I think he's clearly head and shoulders their best player. I mean, above anybody else there, it is quite clear how much better he is than everybody else there. And he's got a great chance of taking him into the Champions League this season. But I still don't think they're good enough to win a title yet. And it might be that in a few years' time they will. Maybe next season you look at them getting their recruitment right. Maybe they go to that next level. But first of all, let's see if they can get into the Champions League this year before we start talking about a title race, because I think it's way too early to be talking about how Chelsea can overtake Arsenal and start winning trophies before them. Look, if they win a trophy this season, whether it be an FA Cup or a League Cup, and Arsenal don't, then I think they can start giving us banter, unless it's the Conference League, because they might as well just give that to Chelsea now, because if they don't win that, that is absolutely embarrassing, to be fair. I don't think Chelsea should be able to show their face if they don't win that competition, crikey. But yeah, I think that can definitely be a talking point. And oh my God, Chelsea been a mess and they've still won something before Arsenal. That could happen this season if we don't take things seriously. But I think to actually go for a Premier League title ahead of Arsenal, I just don't see that for a couple of years, man. I don't see that for a couple of years. And I think Arsenal need to win something in the next 2 years, or Premier League or Champions League. For
2 years? Why not this year? Bro, surely it's got to be this year, man.
No, Champions League as well. I said Champions League as well.
Surely you have to win something this year, bro. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, no, I said that. I said that.
You said 2 years. You said 2 years.
Yeah, I said we need to win a Premier League, or the Champions League in the next 2 years. That's what I think we should be doing.
So not this year. Maybe so if you don't win anything this year, that's still chill. You're going to give him one more year.
No. Champions League, man. Listen, bro. Listen. We've got to win the Premier League this year. Champions League, I'm not saying we must. Yeah, but we must win the Premier League. As for the Champions League next year, maybe. I just don't think the mentality's there yet. But
did you see the AFTV video? I think they had Ian Stone, the comedian, on, where he basically said about we shouldn't be judging. I'm paraphrasing here. He didn't use it word for word, but we shouldn't be judging Arteta purely on the trophies he wins. We've got to enjoy the journey. We're going up against this big Man City team. Like, what did you sort of make of what do you make of Arsenal fans that still have that mentality that it's still just about the journey, even at this point in that journey?
Well, listen, I big up if he's enjoying the journey, and I hope he's enjoying his picnic and he gets his blanket out and he gets his nice food and his drinks out and all that, and he goes and then buys his scarf and he goes to the pub and he has his drink. That's all lovely. But we've got to judge Arteta on trophies, right? When you're 5 years into a job, you've got to be judged on trophies now. You've got all the praise, and deservedly so, to challenge. I don't think there's any football fan that can go, don't really get what Arteta's doing. When's he going to challenge for a title? Because he's doing that now, right? But when are we going to get across the line is the next question for me. I think it has to be this year. I think it has to be a Premier League or a Champions League this year. For me, when I look at it, right, I'll be real. I understand where people come from when they say, Manchester City are a good side, you know. Any other season, if they weren't in it, Arsenal would win the league. But I could have said that quite a few years ago about Sir Alex Ferguson, but I never did. I just said we've got to find a way to beat Sir Alex Ferguson, and we did. Why would I change now? Like, some people weren't old enough to grow up in that era. I get it, and I'm not slating the youngsters that support Arsenal now that haven't been through the Fergie Wenger era. But I never ever left Highbury going, do you know what? Second was really good this year, because that Fergie side, we just can't beat them. They've just done a treble. It's 99. Yeah, next few years I'll just take second place. And every time we do and we don't win a trophy, it don't matter because Fergie's here. So why would I do that with Pep now? Come on, man. I've been around. I've seen it. You just get better. Yeah, Klopp found a way to win a Premier League title. Ten Hag found a way to stop Pep from winning a trophy somehow. So how can Arteta not? For me, you've got to go in there and say, Arsenal are good enough now. Arsenal have got the team now. Do I think we're potentially a striker short? Maybe, but so are Manchester City. Manchester City don't have Rodri. KDB don't look like he's going to play majority of this season. It's a great time for us to win this trophy, man. We have to win the Premier League this season. And I think when you look at the Champions League, of course, I want to win that one. That's the one I absolutely would love to win, yeah, because we ain't got it. I think when you look at it, you have to win a trophy. You can't just be judged on trophies. It's about the journey and about where we've come from. I think sometimes you need that manager to get you across the line. Now, I will say this. If Mikel Arteta was to be removed from a post, we need to get somebody better than Mikel Arteta. There's no point removing Mikel Arteta and going and hiring De Zerbi, or Graham Potter. It's just a madness. You've got to go to that elite coach level. But I will say that there are managers out there that could take Arsenal to the next level and across the line. And sometimes people don't want to talk about that because it's like, no, it's Mikel Arteta FC, la, 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 la. It's Arteta or but. No, man, sometimes it ain't. Because Brendan Rodgers did a phenomenal job of Liverpool getting them into a title race. But they needed Klopp to win it. Yeah. Mark Hughes, if you remember, just couldn't get Man City across the line. Mancini walked in. Claudio Ranieri was doing quite well at Chelsea, come second. Then they got Jose Mourinho across the line. Are we in that bracket? Maybe we are. We don't know yet. I pray he does it this year. We don't have to worry about that. But for me, we have to get across the line, man. We really do have to get across the line.
This is the thing, with that, some Arsenal fans.
Journey.
Nah, this is the thing with some Arsenal fans, man. Like some of these Arsenal fans need to wake up and understand that, like, Arsenal are a good team now. The journey's over. It's time to deliver the trophies. How long is this journey going to go on for? The reason why people always talk about Arteta, right, and the reason why people speak about Arsenal is because they're now a good team and people are respecting Arsenal and saying, at what point are you guys actually going to demand trophies? You keep talking about phases. You keep talking about journeys. Yeah? What are you talking about? The journey was 2-3 years ago, getting Arsenal from Europa League football to title challenging. You now are there. You're there now. You're done. You're now ready to deliver the silverware. That's why you spent 750 million. That's why you gave Arteta time when he was going through a rough period. And that's why you didn't sack him. That's why you give him a new contract when everyone thought, we need to get rid of this guy. You backed him. That's why you backed him when he got rid of Aubameyang. That was the journey. You're not in a journey no more. The journey now is to win. So when people speak about it and says, oh, nah, it's not about the trophies. It might not have been about the trophies 2 years ago or whatever when you was going through the journey, but it's about that now. It's about winning. It's about acting again like a big club, yeah? And again, I think some fans forget that Arsenal are a huge club. Some fans forget that Arsenal should be challenging for titles. You ain't a banter club, man. You had your banter era. That's over. The time is now to deliver the trophies, mate. And that's why people speak about it. You know what I mean? And if you want to speak about journeys and all that, great. But it's about winning trophies, man.
If you want a journey, then go and follow Wrexham. Now that's a good journey. Go follow a journey like that,
Well,
because
I
this
think-
is a journey, man. It's crazy.
But I think yeah. Look, I agree, boys. It is about winning the trophies from this point, and there's a journey within that. You just need to. The journey is important because you look back. You know, when you won your treble last season, I'm sure you did this, LB, where you look back and reflected on where you were as a football club, the takeover, the years, the turmoil, the ups and downs on your way to that point. And I think that there's always a journey that's going on, good, bad, or indifferent at a football club. But I just don't like this notion of, City are just so good, so we can't win any trophies. It's wrong. Arteta, and I've said this beginning of last season, same as this year, he is now being judged purely, in my opinion, on the trophies that he wins or does not win. Now, not winning a trophy does not equal you're rubbish or you're a complete failure or you need to be sacked. Context always needs to be applied. But Arsenal fans, I don't think, I sort of feel that some are pushing this journey narrative now because I think they like the comfortable space they've been in, where they're respected as a football team, but maybe there isn't quite the pressure to go on and win. And Arteta isn't necessarily... Listen, Arteta has been a very important component in your rebuild, but I don't believe your club is built in his image. I believe your club can survive without him. And when you go back and look at, and I know this will trigger some people that are watching, so I'm very, very sorry, Nick and other people out there. But when I say Arsenal is scary, people go back and watch some of those videos. It wasn't about Arteta specifically and the players right there and then. It was this notion of, even if Arteta fails, I believe the next manager comes in and they keep going. I don't believe Arsenal were going to lose Arteta for one reason or another.
Agreed.
And then they fall off. So let's just say Arteta does the quad this year and then Real Madrid take him. I don't think Arsenal are falling off. Let's say they win nothing this year and they go and get another manager. I don't think they're falling off. I don't think either way this Arsenal team is just going to collapse and fall away. You will bring in another very good coach, maybe one who's better, maybe one of similar level, and you're going to be there or thereabouts. I don't think Arsenal fans need to... It goes back to that conversation, why do Man United fans want to back a manager? We still have too many supporters that believe managers run the football clubs. They don't. Yes, they harvest more power over the course of time. But I'm telling you now, an even more important signing in some respects than Pep's replacement is this guy that's coming in for Cheeky, or Cheeky, however you pronounce his name, because that's the man who day-to-day runs a club. Who makes sure that everything's in place and the foundation is there for Pep to be successful from. And I think that Arsenal fans, Man United fans alike, we live in this Wenger, Fergie era in our minds still, where the manager is the be-all and the end-all. And I'm not attacking. I think Arteta has done a fantastic job as a fledgling manager to get you to where you are now. But he has to be judged on getting you over the line, because Arsenal are one of the biggest teams in England. They're one of the biggest teams in the world. They want to be considered a European great. You're never going to be a European great unless you start winning Champions Leagues. So you need a man, and you've got a team that's good enough to do it. Like, you generally have a squad that is good enough to win those two trophies. So yeah, when I heard that, I saw the clip, then I went and watched the video because I like full context. Good show, big up AFTV. But I just thought, No, you can't be in that space of just, I'm happy to be here. Do you know who that reminds me of? Spurs.
Yes, facts.
I was doing vox pops outside Spurs'
Mhm.
stadium in the build-up to the Champions League final against Liverpool. And when we were leaving, we're getting on the train. I was with the boys, and they said, "Who do you reckon actually going to win it, Tel?" I said, 100% after just doing that is Liverpool. And they're all like, laugh at why? I said, I wish I caught this on camera now. It would have been brilliant. I said, because they're all just happy that they're going. And there was nothing that not one person said, I hope we do that. No one said, I hope Potts don't bring back Kane and we do this and we do that. And I hope we look at this tactically and I hope we do this and we've got to win this and it will bring all this to life and the stadium. And it was just, I'm so happy we're there. And straight away, I felt that is going to get into that dressing room and that is going to plant the seed. It's okay not to win. And I think that's a dangerous, dangerous seed to plant in the dressing room of your players personally.
Yeah, facts. And this journey thing is bizarre because we've been going on a journey for 20 years since we last we've got into a new stadium, we've had new managers, we've had new regimes, we've had new board members, we've had new players. This has all been a journey for 20 years, not just 3 years. We've been trying to win this league for God knows how long now. And you would not know that Arsenal have gone that long without a Premier League title when you talk to the fan base. They're all so buzzing and amazing. This club's going to take us to new levels. And you must, as someone who wouldn't know football, walk in and go, God, that Arsenal fan base are buzzing. What have they won? Oh, we didn't win a league for 20 years. No, you're joking. The fan base, not this fan base, they're like buzzing. It's like, hang on a minute, let's look into reality here. The manager's done great. He's got us to the place where we need to be. And I hope he gets us across the line. If he doesn't, the fan base are going to cry. Now, look, I don't believe personally that it is if he doesn't win, he will go. Because I think he's going to stay. He's going to sign a new deal. He'll be here for another 3 years at the bare minimum, right? So I don't think there's any point of having that conversation of, do you think he might get sacked? The answer is no, he won't. He will finish trophyless and not get sacked still, right? If he was to come 7th and trophyless, we might have that conversation and the Cronkies might pull the plug. But trust me, they love him. They've given everything to him. They're going to keep him there but as long as he's challenging, right? So there's no point in thinking, oh my God, Arteta might get sacked here. What is the right thing to do? Well, let's be real. If you go 5 years without a trophy and you keep finishing trophyless, you are going to lose your job eventually. And it is going to be a fan base that says, yeah, you might have to be replaced then. So he's got to win a trophy. I think he's got to win the Premier League. I think it's in our greatest of years to win it. We've got the good squad to win it. Manchester City don't quite look right, but we've said that before many times. And, I personally believe that they will still win the league because I think that we have shown in the last couple that we do slip up in games and Manchester City are relentless. But I think that if we can stop those kind of games from slip ups, then I think Arsenal got a great, great chance, man. I really do. So, yeah, I hope he can lift the trophy. I really do.
Yeah, I'm sure many Aguna is wanting that. Arsenal do win this season for me. But Dan, your prediction, you predicted City to win. I'm confused.
Yeah, but I didn't say Arsenal would win it and then Man City would win it, did I? You think Arsenal will win it, and I think Man City will win it. So I don't know why you're confused because I think Manchester City have still got the evidence to show that they can get across the line. Arsenal were yet to do that. I'm praying and hope Arsenal win it. If you had to put my house on it, I'm going to go Man City to win it.
Yeah, I got called out the other day, and the City fan said Terry did a really balanced video on City for once. So I'm always balanced about City. He goes, "Oh, you never really compliment us." I said, hang on. All right. I know I've said Arsenal was scary, but I said City are the best team in the world right now. They're a European great. I always defend Pep when he's
a European great. Yeah, can you say that again?
Yeah, European great. This is a great one. Yeah, it's there. I always defend Pep.
Send it to me.
Yeah. I was like, I always defend Pep when people call him a checkbook manager. I've always rode out for Haaland. I think KDB is in the top 2 Premier League midfielders of all time. I said that David Silva and Aguero are disrespected legends, right? I probably have given the highest compliments out of any of the other top 6 to Man City. But yeah, I'm always told I'm never complimentary of City. I don't quite get it. Only one country ever won international tournament with a foreign coach, Greece in 2004. Why are English people so scared to say they want the manager to be English? It's not that, right? And I do get your point. However, look at the nations that actually in the modern day era that are winning those tournaments. It's always out of the same group who, ironically, are also the groups that we would all consider the best managers to be from. So I do get your point, but the English managers, typically speaking, are just not good enough. It's not about being too scared to say it. Again, I don't think the Spanish are like, we need a Spanish manager because he has to have Spanish blood. It's if England had 4 or 5 top class managers, we'd probably say pick an English one. So that's what it's about, my friend, in my opinion. Imagine Tuchel gets the England job and Southgate goes to, can you imagine Southgate at United? I'll cry. I'll cry.
That would be hilarious.
Joshua here says, Dan, I agree with the structure. I'm saying go under the radar. We are linked to McKenna in the summer. Do that to start a proper rebuild. LB, what does it mean to be worthy? That's subjective. A manager, what I think it means, what does a manager have to be worthy of Man United? I think.
Well, I thought he was a big club, so I'd assume a CV that matches the ambitions of Manchester United, not McKenna. But listen, like at the end of the day, like I'm not a United fan. I'm just saying it. Like when I was growing up, United was one of the biggest clubs in the world, if not the biggest club in the world. I'm saying, as a City fan, you guys should be targeting managers like Inzaghi and Zidane. But if you want McKenna, then you get McKenna. Like it's up to you, innit?
Debbie here, hope you're doing well, Debs. She says, I can't believe they sacked him really before the egg-shaped man. Yep, Fergie is. I mean, Fergie's still doing his role. He's just not being paid for it. And I can't help but I've seen some United fans today angry, and I'm like, no, I'd rather that £5 million a year go to buying youth players, like personally, like as an example. Eric Ten Hag is the definition of pissing on someone and telling them it's raining. The amount of gaslighting he does is insane. Ineos and any other owners are under no obligation to give fans any reasons for their decisions. But Johnny Sins, I'm not asking Ineos. I'm asking you for your rationale because you're having a conversation. And if you're ever, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ever in a conversation with somebody and they go, I want blah, 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 or I think X, Y, and Z, and you go, why do you think that? Can you break it down for me? If they can't or refuse to or get funny, it's because they know what they're saying is fundamentally flawed. We're not that club anymore, LB. I'll say it.
Yeah, but can I not say though, Josh? Yeah, and a good debate, bro. I'm not cooking you, or you're not cooking me. Just a debate. Are you not accepting the lowering of the standards? Because I'm saying you should be targeting managers like Inzaghi and Zidane, and you're telling me that you want McKenna. So are you as a fan not contributing to the downfall and the lowering of standards when I'm giving you 2 elite level managers and you're telling me you'd rather have McKenna than Zidane and Inzaghi? That's the question I'll throw back to you, Joshua. Yeah,
fair point. It's a fair point. Did you know that none of the new United higher ups have ever sacked and looked for a new manager before? That can't be true though, because Sir Jim and his team have definitely sacked people at Nice. So, and they've definitely all sacked people before in some way, shape, or form. But there we go. Thank you. This weekend, boys, I want to get before the end of the show. I want to get your take. Chelsea take on Liverpool. How do we see this one going, LB?
It's at Anfield, right?
Yes, it is.
I don't know. You know, I think I've got to sit on the fence, man. I honestly don't know. I think it should be a good game. I think both managers will go for it. I don't think either of them will sit back and play Tony Pulis style football. I think they'll go for it. It'll be an open game, end to end, some goals in there as well. And I think we could get a really exciting match. I think it's probably going to go down to who's most clinical. And both teams have their issues there. You know what I mean? Because you've got Salah and probably Palmer. And then the rest of them in the squad are a little bit mixed. But yeah, I think it could be a cracker, you know. I'm actually really looking forward to that game. And I hope that Chelsea win, because obviously I think that Liverpool are more of a threat to the Premier League than Chelsea. So I hope Chelsea win. But honestly, I don't know, man. I just hope it's a good game, man. I want an end-to-end game. Yeah, I want exciting football. And I want goals, mate. Yeah, I want goals. I want something to speak about. And hopefully we have nothing to do with the referees, man. Hopefully we don't have to talk about the referees. But yeah, I don't know how it's going to go. Honestly, mate, I have no idea. I don't think there should be goals.
Yeah, I think this is a good game as well. I'm with LB, of course. I see Liverpool as more of a threat. So obviously look at it, seeing Chelsea, if they can do it. I actually think Liverpool will win this one, though. I think Liverpool beat them. It's at Anfield. I think they've looked defensively sound. They have been scoring goals. Even Diaz and Gakpo have been getting on the score sheet, as well as Jota the Slotter and obviously Salah as well. So I expect them to score goals. Chelsea a little bit wasteful in front of goal at times. I think they're a little bit less clinical than Liverpool, and defensively they're nowhere near as good in my opinion. So I do fancy Liverpool to win this one 2-1, but I think it'll be a good game. Like LB, I don't want to be talking about VAR or the refs, so hopefully they just let the game play. But I do think Liverpool this season have been defensively good and good in front of goal. Problem is, ain't really been tested yet. This is going to be a real big test for the next few weeks for Liverpool, because from now until the 3rd of December, they end on the Merseyside derby, and in that, between Chelsea and that Merseyside derby, they've got Real Madrid, Leverkusen, Arsenal, Newcastle, obviously Chelsea as well. That's going to be a big, big few weeks for Liverpool. So it's going to be interesting to see what Liverpool we get. And if I tell you this now, if they get to that Merseyside derby and they're still, like looking at Man City and Arsenal at the top of the table, Liverpool are serious this season. Liverpool are very serious this season if they do that, because that is a big chunk of fixtures where a lot of people are saying they're going to lose games, they're going to draw games, they're going to drop points. If they don't, then wow, hello Liverpool, they're serious. But look, I think at the weekend, I think they're going to get the job done on Chelsea. I do. I think it will be 2-1 Liverpool.
I love it. I love this game. I'm so excited about it because there's big question marks over both clubs for one reason or another. Chelsea, they played City in the opening game of the season, and I think they were, they were playing as well as they have been now, especially in their attack. Maybe that could have been a different game. Liverpool been tested by only going away to Man United, who have been drossed this season. So it's a real big test for both. And it's not that I don't think we're going to get answers. I think we will get answers that tell us about the two football clubs. Right now, my head's just saying draw, saying a score draw. But I think the answers we're going to get is that both teams are really good. I've said all summer, I thought Liverpool were going to be in this title race, and nothing has changed my mind. I don't think they'll win it, but I think they'll be in the title race, similarly to what I was talking about earlier with Arsenal. I don't think they were built in the image of Klopp. And I think actually, with Klopp saying he was tired and not really feeling it anymore, I think these players have had a resurgence with a manager that's come in with a fresh outlook, fresh ideas, new energy, and they look like the team that only 2 seasons or so ago nearly won a quad. And that's what you're talking. That's what you're talking about as a squad, and the majority is still there. Like they're key players, and they've improved in areas. Got Gravenberch who's firing. Where with Chelsea, they started they had what I thought was an average preseason. They started the season quite slowly, but they are becoming ever more a dangerous side. And I'm looking at the top 4 race, looking at the title race. I'm looking at all the teams trying to make it into the Champions League. And we're in for one hell of a season as football fans. The only thing ruining it is every 4 fucking weeks we're stopping for this poxy international breaks. We can't get up ahead of steam, really. But yeah, I'm really excited about this one. I think that my prediction, aside from the score, by the end of this weekend, I think there's going to be a consensus from the majority of football fans that say, shit, both Chelsea and Liverpool are serious. I think we're going to see them both as serious. Still a long way for Chelsea, especially to go. But I think we're going to see them and recognize them both as serious teams this weekend. You've got like Hassam, who's predicting, we'll be talking to him tomorrow, Straight Facts, who's kind of predicting that he feels that it's going to be Chelsea's funeral. Arsenal are going to kind of send them back to the doldrums again and prove that they're just sort of riding upon a wave of playing nobody. I don't necessarily think that's true. There are some people that think Liverpool are going to be found out. They're going to play a tough side and they're going to be exposed. I actually think it's going to be a high-quality game, a couple of goals each, a 2-2 draw, but a big message to the rest of the Premier League, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think if Chelsea lose, I think that's tough then. Yeah, I know we'll only be 8 games in, right? But what they'll be 7 points behind Liverpool already after 8 games. With a brand new manager, without an elite level striker, without an elite level goalkeeper, and they've got to play Arsenal in a couple of weeks. I think that pretty much ends it already for me for Chelsea. They'll still be in the top 4 race, of course. I think they've got a good chance of getting top 4. If they can win the game, then I think people will be like, damn, that could be like, maybe people will start taking Chelsea seriously. You know what I mean? And then we'll be looking at the Arsenal-Chelsea game that's coming up in a couple of weeks and going, but if they get a result there as well, then they are definitely 100% serious. So I think it's more. I think the onus for me is more on Chelsea to win if they want to go for the league. A draw's not a bad result for them if they want top four, but if they want to go for the league, they need to win, really. As for Liverpool, a draw or a win, either for them is fine. A draw's not the end of the world. I just hope my team can make, just win, innit? Because we're playing Wolves and we lost there last year. We were trash. So, yeah, hopefully we win. Who you got this weekend, Potsy?
Got Bournemouth away, bro.
That'll be easy.
Which we should do all right, but they're a little bit of a strange side, Bournemouth. You don't quite know what you're going to get with them, if I'm honest with you. But I do fancy us. I do think we'll be okay. Rumours that Saka or Martinelli might be okay for this one, so hopefully they are. But yeah, we need to get
rumours. I said it yesterday, and again, I always get stick whenever I say anything complimentary about Arsenal. People get very upset about it, but
because you're a Gooner, did you not know?
Yeah. I just think it's you guys being kind of ruthless in the way that Fergie was at Man United, where I would not be surprised to hear that Arteta finds out there's a bit of swelling on the leg or a little bit of a problem here. You're coming home. You get yourself back here. You get away from that international team.
I hope so.
And I think that there's a lot of that. And I think that Fergie was a master at it. You actually look at the amount of times Ryan Giggs didn't play for Wales. There's a reason why Ryan Giggs went on to play at 40 years of age. Gareth Bale, on the other hand, look, he had a great tournament with Wales. But having said that, it's not fair, really, when you look at the smaller European nations like Wales and Scotland get into tournaments now. When Giggs was playing, do you know how hard it was to get to internet? You had to win your group and that was it. Now you can come third in a group stage of qualifications and make it to a tournament. But there's a reason that Bale's body let him down. Fair play to him. He never missed a Wales game. But Fergie was like, I don't care about Wales. I don't care about Scotland. I don't care about England. But my players are going to play for Man United for longer. So, yeah, I think Arsenal are doing a bit of that. I think you'll be fine against Bournemouth, though. I really do. I actually don't see City, Arsenal, or Liverpool losing more than another 2 games each this season. I think all of you are just going to be relentless this year. So I just think it's going to be one of them ones. Strap yourselves in, viewers. They're going to win a lot of games. A lot of games. Super chat here says, it's not lowering the standards. It's just a realization that my clubs, we're not where we were anymore. I haven't competed for the league or Champions League since 2013. Just want to start brand new under this structure.
Okay, I mean, look, Josh. I mean, football's about opinions. That's your opinion. I mean, fair enough. If it was me, I'd be going for Inzaghi or try to get Zidane here. But look, you got your views, so respect it, bro. Big up, man.
I agree with LB. Ineos claimed to be the best in class, so the same should go for the manager. McKenna had no notable impact at United in 3 years under Ole.
Yeah, I don't know that McCarrick or McKenna is the right move for Man United, if I'm honest. But, people have difference of opinions, like LB says. But I just personally feel like it needs to be that elite of the elite that's coming in now.
Yeah, I think I agree. I get where you guys are coming from. I understand the logic of the other managers. The only time, though, I think we should be going for a McKenna is if other individuals if Inzaghi and Tuchel and Simeone and whoever else say no, then fair enough.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be going for McKenna as a first choice. I wouldn't personally be doing that. Boys, look, I want to thank you both for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to sit and speak. Always a pleasure to sit and speak football. Viewers, sorry about that. We're literally in the new studio space here. I was about to pick you can see it here. We're in the new studio space. Look, you can just see a green wall. I can't really move my laptop, but my laptop's broken. During this stream, I've literally bought a new one. It's going to be delivered here tomorrow. But I've also got a brand new Mac in a box over there. I could just use that, but I didn't have the time to set it up. So we will, this weekend for the Chelsea-Liverpool game, we'll be here in the studio on our brand new custom-made desk as well. I didn't pay the guy that made it because I wanted to inspect it first. It's actually really solid. It's got little cubby holes underneath to put things in. He even gave me these little things to put the wires through in the holes in the desk. I was like, oh, bless him. So it's, very exciting times for the terrace. You two, always a pleasure to speak football with the two of you. Viewers, you're the best. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we will see you all again very, very soon. Peace.